Well, I don't know quite how we're going to do this. I've written down a few songs here that we thought might work with just a piano, keyboard and voice, and we'll find out, along with you, whether some of them do. So we'll start with something, and then I hope some of you got a lot of questions, and we can, you know, just take it from there and see what happens. So here we go.
And if she should tell you come closer, if she tempts you with a charm, tell her no, 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 don't love me now for love belongs to me. And if she should tell me I love you, oh, if she tempts you with a tell her no, 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 no,
Well, that's way back from 1965, and that was the second song we ever recorded. Can you think of anything to talk about that song?
Because we recorded that in Decca Studios in West Hampstead in London, and it was about the end of 1964.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And when we recorded that, we had a phone call in the studio from our publisher in America. You know, we were 19 years old. And he phoned up and he said, just by the by, guys, in Cashbox this week, She's Not There is #1. And this is in the middle of the session, and I remember it vividly.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, you're right, you're absolutely right.
Nice feeling.
There you go.
#1. Yeah. So while we were recording that, we got this news, so that if there's a little bit of joy in that song, you understand why. Although I have to say that we used to record about 5 tunes in an evening, and it was all backing tracks. We did 5 backing tracks. And I would sit there while they did the backing tracks. And I'm a very good sleeper. I'm actually world class. I was fast asleep by the time they finished the backing tracks. And they woke me up to sing that, Tell Her No. And in the second chorus, if you listen to the record, where it's going, you know, tell her no, and now I'm going, oh, whatever. And the next bit is complete garbage. She goes, I was half asleep, and I said, still on the record. I said to the producer, well, you have to record that. Yes, good enough, that's fine. That's how it was done in those days.
That's how it happened in those days. It was crazy when we were recording the first album, because we were talking about this just backstage, recording the first album. In those days, albums were not important. It took a little bit longer for them to become important. But everything we did was important to us. You know, we wanted it to be good, but we had a very autocratic producer. And as Colin so rightly said, everything was recorded very, very quickly. We had 2 days to record our album. So we went in and we were doing some of the tracks. And one of the tracks we used to do on stage, one of the songs we used to do was Got My Mojo Working. So he said, the producer said, why don't we do a version of that? I said, okay. And that happened to be one of the few things that I sang in it. So I had in my head this weird idea that I wanted to try it in a really sort of mannered way. And I went and did it. And I came back and listened to the playback. And I said, oh my God, no, I've got to go back and do it how I normally do it. He said, no, that's it, that's fine, next. And that's how recording was then. It was really crazy. Does anyone want to ask any question at all?
If you hang on, I'll come over there with the microphone. Just while I'm moving over there, can I ask you a question? Were you more successful in America straight off, or were you pretty successful in the UK as well? I mean, I know She's Not There was a pretty big hit in the UK.
It's a very strange thing that She's Not... That the UK, which was our base, She's Not There was the only hit we ever had in the UK. And we found out later in our career that all the time we were together, almost at any particular time, we had a hit somewhere in the world, lots of different tracks. We didn't know that at the time, and because we were based so much in the UK, and most of our income was coming from live work in the UK, it was only the 2 writers in the band, which were myself and Chris White, the original bass player, that actually had a decent income. And that was one of the main reasons why the band, in the end, split up when it did.
Okay. This gentleman here has got a question for you.
Yes, I was told the other night by one of the entertainers that in the 60s, you could record an album or 3 or 4 albums in a year. But nowadays you can't do that. It takes a long, long time. I was wondering, could you tell me why that is?
Well, I'm not sure it's necessarily true. Can I answer it in 2 parts? The first part is with the way studio recording has improved. You have so many choices, and so with choices it takes time. And so, you know, in the 60s we just went in and we just played it as we knew it. You know, so that's one thing. The other thing I've noticed is that if you're going to take your album to radio and to the media in general, they can't accept albums that quickly. I don't know how they managed in the 60s. There must have been, you know, it was a totally different system. But really, you need to give them about 3 years, 2 years, 3 years, to sort of recover from your constant interviews and promotional pushes and all that kind of thing. So otherwise they go, God, not you again. So it's not because the players aren't as good. It's not that. The players are bloody great nowadays. They really are. It's just that circumstances have changed out of all recognition.
And can I add something to that? And that is that even when Colin says that there are so many choices now, because there are unlimited numbers of tracks, etc., etc., that's true. But we, particularly on our last album, Breathe Out, Breathe In, we thought, okay, we're going to use some of the criteria that we always used to be governed by in the early days, because we had no choice. We had to go in there and we always had to play the rhythm section together, so there was some sort of inter-reaction going on and capturing of a performance. I still think it doesn't matter how many tracks you've got or whatever, it's still all about capturing a performance. And on each of the tracks, and on each of the tracks that we did in the last album, I think typically we would go in there and we would actually record the backing track in, I would say, a total of about 3 hours. And then Colin would have a guide vocal on that backing track, and that would be it for that day. And we deliberately tried not to put many overdubs on the last album, because we wanted to be able to capture that sort of immediacy and freshness and interaction between things. And then on another day, Colin would come in a very unhurried way, we'd take all day for him to work on his vocal, but each time it was a complete, he might sing the song 12 times, but it would be a complete performance each time. And sometimes we would make up a composite vocal from those, but always from complete organic performances, because it's so important to perform perform as if it's the only time you've got the chance to record, and you have to do it, you know, as if that's your only chance ever. And that's really what we go in and are governed by. So in some ways, I think you have to take the best of what you had to do in the old days, but then use the technique that the studio has got as well. But make that your servant, not your master. I think that's the really important thing.
And we'll get another question here from this gentleman.
Hi. I don't know if you remember WNEW-FM in New York City.
Yeah.
It was the premier rock and roll station, among others. Yeah. A few years before they went off the air, they had a coming up to their 2 millionth song played on the radio, and they had a contest if anyone remembered what the 1 millionth song was. And it turned out to be God Gave Rock and Roll to You by Argent.
Wow, fantastic, thank you.
Can I ask you a question about your record label? Because have we got anybody else in here from the UK at all? Yeah? Okay, well you know that obviously the Zombies were on Decca originally. And in the UK there were mainly 3 labels, weren't there guys? It was EMI, Decca or Pi. How did you get signed to Decca? Because you were in good company, you were with the Moody Blues, Small Faces, the Stones of course.
Well, I think it's a strange story, and I'm not sure any of us really quite understand, to be honest. But I just want to say one. Can I answer that in a roundabout way?
However you like.
We took part in the Hearts Beat competition. It's a rock and roll competition. There were 10 bands a week, and I think it went on for about 10 or 12 weeks. So there was over 100 bands that came from all over the country. And I can't tell you how surprised we were, but we won the bloody thing. And as a result of that,
And the
and
first
also,
hit,
I should say, this today is a celebration. I've just been informed. This is actually today is the 50th anniversary of when we won that first heat. And then we went back for the final and we won that. And it all led towards a contract which was kind of led by a producer called Ken Jones. And he was very interested in us and he took us to Decca. And that's how we ended up with Decca. I forgot what your question was.
You answered it perfectly. If we'd have known, we would have baked you a cake.
should we play something
Let's
else?
have another song, I think.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if this is going to work, Cole, but this is going to be interesting.
I love it, can I just say? Because sometimes when you play it on piano, it doesn't sound the same as when it's with a band. And so this is one of the most frightening points in my life. Because when God starts it, often I don't know what the bloody song is.
I think you'll know this
By
one.
the end of the intro, I'll know.
Well, this is from the album that we made very recently, which, as I say on stage, actually, to our amazement, got some really stunning reviews, both in the US and the UK. And this is a track from it called Breathe Out, Breathe In. So it's interesting.
Late at night. as long as we learn to breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in.
Actually, before we have another question, why don't we do... so this is a song that we did the other night, actually. Last night, was it? Yeah.
Yes,
Last night, yeah. And this is sort of... It's so funny, you know, because Colin and I got back together really by accident. I did a charity show for a jazz musician friend of mine called John Dankworth. It was to do with raising money for a theatre in Milton Keynes in the UK. And in the audience was Colin, and he got up on the spur of the moment and sang She's Not There in Time of the Season, and do you know what? It felt like we'd been playing together about 2 weeks before. And he said, soon after that he said, why don't we put half a dozen gigs together just for fun? And so we did that, and I honestly thought that's all it was going to be, and somehow it gradually, you know, it took a while to get momentum going, but it's gradually turned into travelling around the world in the last 40 years. When we started, we didn't really do much on this stuff because the one thing we didn't want to do is just look back all the time. We hated the idea of, excuse me, we hated the idea of just, you know, looking back and raking over the embers and all that sort of business. We didn't want to do that. But after a while, we realised there was a lot of stuff that we either never played live because we broke up before Odyssey and Oracle came out, or it had been so long ago that we could rediscover it and really, really enjoy it. And within the context of doing new stuff, it was really good fun to play all the old stuff. So we did a lot of that, and we got more and more Zombies material into the set. And then things like this happened. I mean, just a few months ago, I was just trawling the YouTube on the internet, and I came across Tom Petty playing I Want You Back Again, which is an old Zombies thing from 1965. And we said, why don't we do that? It's something we never played live. It was believe it or not, this is one of those songs that I said we usually had a hit somewhere. It was a small hit in France, believe it or not. But we never played it, and we've really loved playing it. So whether this is going to work without a rhythm section, we'll find out. You know.
Thank you very much.
You know, another question then?
I have one.
Okay,
How did
we've
you
got somebody
guys-
here first with a question. I was just about to say, it's probably just as well you went on YouTube.
Hi, I just want to say I love you guys. And Rod, wondered if you could tell us the story of how you met Colin. And Colin, I wondered if you could tell us what you thought of Time of the Season the first time you heard it, or started doing it.
Okay, well, how I met Colin in the first place came about. Now this is really crazy. I've got to go back to the guy that plays bass with us in the band, Jim Rodford, who was the original bass player with Argent, and if any of you don't know here, was also on some of the biggest records that they made with the Kinks. So that's Jim. Jim is actually my cousin, and he's a few years older than me, only a few. I went to see him play when I was maybe 11 years old, and he just turned me on to rock and roll music. I always loved music, but I only really liked classical music at the time, because in the 50s, I mean, really until Elvis, you know, it was pretty barren time, to be honest. But he played me Hound Dog one day, and it completely spun my world around. And he was in a great skiffle band in the southern part of the UK. And I went along to see it, and I was completely transfixed. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And I thought, one day I have to be in a band, and this was really at the centre of my attention. And when I was 16, sorry, I walked into another form at school, and there was a guy in the corner playing in a folk club, and that was Paul Atkinson. He was playing guitar. And I just wandered up to him, never met him before, and said, "Do you want to be in a band?" And he said, "Yeah, I don't mind." So I said, "Okay, right, that's two of us, you know." And I thought, well, a guy that was a really good friend of mine, but went to a different school, was building a bass, but he never played a note of it in his life. And I said, "How's your bass coming on? How's it, you know?" He said, "Well, it's nearly finished." I said, "Great, you can be the bass player in the band." And he said, "Well, I've got a mate who plays guitar a bit and sings a bit." And I said, "Well, bring him along." That was Colin. And all we needed then was a drummer. So we had an army corps, a cadet corps at our school. So on the Friday, I went and watched them all go past, and I picked out the guy who seemed to have the best feel playing military drums. And I went up to him afterwards and said, "Do you want to be in a band?" He said, "Yeah, I don't mind." That was Hugh Grundy. I must say, we did ask Jim to be, Jim Rodford, my cousin, to be in the band right at the beginning, but there was no reason for him to do that, because he was in the big local band, you know, but he said, "But I'll help you." And so he loaned us all the gear, the Blue Tones. He was in a band called Blue Tones. He loaned us all the Blue Tones gear, took us to the first rehearsal, and I was in the car with Jim. And as we pulled up outside the pub where we were going to meet, there was this guy standing there, and I said to Jim, "God, I hope it's not him," because he had two black eyes, a huge plaster over his nose. He played a lot of rugby, and he'd broken his nose playing rugby. And it was Colin. So we walked into the rehearsal room, and Jim showed Hugh. Now, honestly, Jim showed Hugh, who'd never played a drum kit in his life, how to play a basic bass drum and snare pattern. And to be fair to Hugh, he picked it up in about a minute. It was fantastic, actually. So we were really pleased with ourselves here. And I was the singer at the time, so I was singing along and everything. So then we had a little break, and I wandered over to an old beaten up piano and played Nut Rocker, an old Big Bumble thing. So Colin came, I played the whole thing. And Colin
I came over and said to him, "Bloody hell. You know, we were just a struggling little old band, you know, and he was playing this stuff." And I said, "You've got to be the keyboard player in the band." But Rod said, "Bands are just three guitars. They don't have piano players." But we managed to talk him around to be the keyboard. Otherwise, he would have been the lead singer, and I was going to be the rhythm. I only joined to be the rhythm singer. The rhythm guitarist. I wanted to stand at the back. Whole idea. And then when Rod played that, I didn't even know him. And I walked over with strapping and black eyes, and I said, here, mate. You know, looking very tough. You ought to be the keyboard player. And that's how one of the tunes.
Well, I was really puzzled, but then Colin picked up the guitar and started singing an old Ricky Nelson song. And it sounded fabulous. And I said, oh man, I said, I can't believe you can sing like that. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, all right, I will play the piano, but you've got to be the lead singer. And that was it. And with one change, that was the band. Now, the bass player left. I mean, isn't that incredible? But do you know what? I was reading, one of my heroes is Duke Ellington, and I was reading about how he started, and they were just a group of mates. These guys that became seminal figures in early jazz, just a group of schoolmates. You know, and so many young bands actually did start out like that. It's incredible, and sort of learned. I know Dave Grohl said at South by Southwest, didn't he? He said, just get into a garage and suck. But, you know, but just do it, you know, and see where it leads.
There's somebody over here with a question. Oh, here we go. Oh, two. I'll get you in a minute, man.
I've spent a lot of time over the last few years listening to the Zombies Heaven box set, and which has literally everything that you guys recorded. And it's astonishing to me. I mean, I've heard a number of these box sets, and there's always some things that you kind of go, oh yeah, I know why they left that off and why that wasn't officially released. But literally everything in that box set is at least good, and most of it great. Is there anything that you guys left out? How did you maintain that quality when you were recording? It's just astonishing to me. It really
well,
is.
a lot of the tracks on there are live on the BBC, actually. They're not even records, but there's one track, because we used to come to America a lot, and we knew that My Girl had been a huge hit over here.
For the Temptations. For the Temptations, yeah. Not the Australian ones.
No, and it had never been a hit in the UK. So we came home and we recorded My Girl. And there is a tape of us doing My Girl. But Otis Redding in the UK picked us, you know, I mean...
It's going to be a single for us, isn't it? It was going to be a single for us.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there was about a 2-week, 3-week gap. He got there first. And that, no one's got a copy of that. And we've really looked hard. So there's one track
that we can't find, which is our version of My Girl. And I'd love to find that, actually, because we were really pleased with that when we did it, weren't we? And it was great, you know, because we came over in, you know, Colin was saying we were 18 years old, 18 and 19 years old. We came over to the Brooklyn Fox. We played 8 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Day 1964. That was our first show in America. And we played mainly with some fabulous people like Patti LaBelle, who became a real friend. She really took us under her wing, actually. It was great. She played as Aretha Franklin for the first time. She told us about you know, Nina Simone, and really fabulous. And we got them so well. And also, strangely enough, one of the guys that's with the Strawbs, back with the Strawbs, John Hawkins, was with the Nashville Teens on that show. So that was a reunion for us to see him again, wasn't it? As we came onto the boat, onto this ship. But that is one track, as Colin said, that I would love to find that. When no one knows where it is, but we thought we did a really nice job on it. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I could just answer. There was a lady over there who was asking about time of the season, and the whole thing was, it was the last song that was recorded on Odyssey and Oracle, and it was finished in the morning when we recorded it in the afternoon. And so I was really, really unsure of it when we were in the studio. And we were recording in Studio 3 in Abbey Road. And time was tight, and the budget was tight. And I just couldn't get hold of the melody. It's a really simple melody, but it had just been written. And so I'm there with the red light on, and everyone looking at me, come on, come on, come on. And I kept getting it wrong. And Rod said, no, Colin, it's not quite that. It's this. But this went on for like an hour or so, and it got to the point where I'm afraid I said, if you're so bloody clever, you bloody get in here and bloody sing it. And he said to me, you're the bloody lead singer, you bloody stand there until you get it right. while we're singing, it's the time of the season for loving. We're going, you bloody well sang that, Roy! You did this. It's always intrigued me that the opposites were going on. You know, we're singing this beautiful love song. At the same time, through my headphones is coming, come on, get it. I'm glad I did. Rod said you got to stand there and get it right. I'm so glad I did. Otherwise, when we played it, Rod would be singing it and I'd be banging a bloody tambourine.
We've got one more question here from a lady here, maybe another song, yeah?
My question is for Mr. Blunstone. How do you keep your voice in such fine form? Beautiful voice.
Well, it's an interesting thought, really, in that, and both Rod and I started with, we both studied with a singing coach quite late in life. I mean, in my teens and 20s, and same with Rod. Although Rod did sing in a cathedral choir, so he knew a lot more about singing than I did. But we both went to a singing coach called Ian Adam in London, and he coached a lot of the West End singers who do all the shows in the West End, which would be the